Men cry for freedom, yet remain prisoners of their own impulses. They speak of liberty, yet bow to desire, distraction, and weakness. Today, we expose the truth, how the ancient weapon of Stoicism, sharpened by daily discipline, forges the only freedom worth possessing, freedom through self-control. Men believe themselves strong because they can shout, because they can strike, because they can indulge their passions without restraint. Yet I tell you this, the man who cannot master his emotions is weaker than a beggar in the street. For anger is a chain, desire is a leash, and fear is a prison. The Stoics of old understood this truth, that power begins not with the sword, not with wealth, not even with dominion over others, but with dominion over oneself. You see, fortune is a cruel mistress. She strikes when you least expect, taking what you hold dear, mocking the plans you build with such pride. A storm destroys the harvest, a rival insults your name, a lover abandons you. To the common man, these moments are tragedies. He screams at the heavens, he curses his fate. He wastes his strength in useless rebellion against what he cannot control. And in his rage, he becomes a slave. Slave to chance, slave to circumstance, slave to his own weakness. But the Stoic stands differently. The Stoic is no slave. He looks upon insult, upon ruin, upon loss, and he does not tremble. Why? Because he has already understood the rules of the game. He knows that the world does not bend to his will. He knows that chance cannot be tamed, and so he tames what can be tamed, himself. He governs his reactions, sharpens his reason, tempers his passions. Where others are ruled, he rules. Do not mistake this for passivity. The Stoic is no coward hiding in silence. He is a strategist. To feel anger is easy, to lash out is simple, but to remain silent while rage burns within, this is mastery. To collapse in grief when fortune takes what you love, that is natural. To rise, composed, unbroken, and continue forward, that is strength. The Stoic transforms restraint into a weapon. His composure unsettles enemies. His calmness in chaos makes him untouchable. His refusal to be ruled by emotion renders him unconquerable. Imagine a ruler who explodes in fury at every insult, who falls into despair at every setback. Such a man is easily manipulated. His enemies need only to provoke his temper, and he will destroy himself. His allies need only to withhold praise, and he will bend to please them. He believes himself powerful, yet he is a puppet pulled by the strings of passion. Compare him to the Stoic leader. His face betrays nothing. His heart is disciplined. His mind is clear. He is not distracted by rage nor seduced by pleasure. Such a ruler cannot be moved against his will. He does not merely wear the crown. He deserves it, and so too in daily life. You believe you are free, yet how often do you dance to the tune of your own desires? You feel hunger, and you obey without hesitation. You feel insulted, and you lash out without thought. You feel bored, and you drown yourself in distractions. Tell me, who commands whom? Are you the master of these impulses, or are you their servant? The Stoics saw the truth. To be ruled by your passions is to be ruled by tyrants, invisible yet relentless. But when you choose restraint, when you pause before reacting, when you say no to indulgence, you are no longer a prisoner. You stand above fortune, untouchable. You discover a power most men will never know, the power to remain calm in the face of chaos, the power to act with clarity while others drown in confusion, the power to decide your fate not through chance, but through reason. This is why Stoicism is not merely philosophy, it is strategy. The Stoic prepares himself like a general before battle. He trains daily, he disciplines his thoughts, he rehearses loss in his mind, so that no blow of fortune will ever surprise him. When the storm arrives, he does not beg for it to stop. He endures it, and by enduring, he outlasts those who crumble. His strength is invisible, but undeniable. His armor is his reason, his shield is his restraint, his sword is his silence. To master Stoicism is to wield a weapon more dangerous than steel. For what enemy can defeat a man who cannot be provoked? What rival can conquer one who feels no fear of loss? What temptation can ensnare a man who has no need of it? The Stoic does not wait for the world to change, he changes himself. He is free where others are chained, strong where others are weak, sovereign where others are subjects, and it is in this sovereignty over the self that the first true taste of power is found. Most men believe that victory is won on the battlefield in the moment of clash and thunder. They imagine triumph belongs to the strongest arm, the sharpest blade, the loudest command. But I tell you, the battle is already decided long before swords are drawn. It is won, or lost in silence, in hidden hours when no one is watching. Discipline, not chance, is the true dominion that secures power. Observe the common man. He dreams of greatness. He imagines himself conquering obstacles, achieving wealth, commanding respect. Yet when dawn arrives, he clings to the bed, preferring softness to struggle. He speaks of ambition but gives his time to distractions. He seeks strength but flees from effort. Such a man is not building an empire. He is wasting his kingdom. He is defeated daily, not by others but by himself. The disciplined man, however, is different. He does not wait for the world to compel him. He compels himself. When others rest, he rises. When others indulge, he refrains. When others scatter their energy, he sharpens his will, to a point. This is why discipline is silent dominion. It does not announce itself with noise. It does not boast of its victories. It builds quietly, relentlessly, like the foundations of a fortress hidden beneath the earth. No passerby notices, but when the storms come, it is the only structure left standing. Understand this. Habits are the invisible armies of life. Every morning routine, every act of restraint, every repetition of training, every hour given to learning. They are soldiers drilling in silence, preparing for war. Neglect them, and when the test arrives, you will be unprepared, scattered, weak. Strength does not appear in the moment of need. It is forged in the dull, repetitive tasks that men despise. To rule oneself with discipline is to command an army that never sleeps. Consider the general who marches into battle without preparation, trusting luck to guide him. He is doomed before the first arrow flies. Contrast him with the disciplined strategist who trains his men daily, who sharpens their weapons, who studies the terrain, who rehearses victory long before the enemy appears. When the day of battle arrives, it is no surprise who triumphs. Discipline is foresight. It is the quiet assurance that the outcome has already been secured in advance. In the same way, a man without discipline is forever reactive. He waits for crisis before acting, waits for opportunity before preparing, waits for pressure before performing. And thus, he is always late, always unready, always scrambling. His life is governed by chance, by the whims of the hour. But the disciplined man governs himself, and so he governs the future. His preparation makes fortune irrelevant. His habits ensure victory before the contest begins. Do not imagine discipline as chains or punishment. This is the view of the weak, who fear structure because it exposes their laziness. Discipline is not a prison, it is a throne. To command yourself is the greatest sovereignty. To rise when you choose, to work when others falter, to hold yourself to a standard no one else demands, that is true power. The disciplined man answers to no tyrant, not even to his own impulses. He has built a dominion invisible to others, but invincible to circumstance. Think of the man who trains his body daily, not when it pleases him, but when it must be done. In the eyes of the idle, he is extreme, he is obsessive. Yet when sickness comes, when age weighs heavily, when trials demand endurance, it is he who stands unshaken. Or consider the man who disciplines his mind, who reads while others waste hours in noise, who reflects when others seek distraction. He appears ordinary until the moment wisdom is required, and then he is the only one capable of leading. Discipline is the quiet architect of greatness. There is a dangerous illusion among men that freedom is the absence of rules, the indulgence of every whim. But look closely at those who live without discipline. They are prisoners to appetites, servants to laziness, victims of desire. Their so-called freedom has chained them in weakness. True dominion is found not in surrender to impulse, but in mastery over it. Discipline is the silent ruler, the invisible crown, the iron hand that shapes destiny without speaking a word. Day by day, discipline writes the future. Each morning sacrificed to purpose, each indulgence denied, each task completed though the spirit resisted. These are the bricks with which empires are built. And though the world may not applaud in those moments of struggle, the applause comes later, when results stand undeniable. The indisciplined man envies the achievements of others, blaming fortune or circumstance, never admitting the truth, that the victories he admires were carved in silence, long before he ever noticed. Men cry out for liberty, but their chains are invisible. They call themselves free because no master commands them, because no jail surrounds them. Yet observe them closely, and you will see their servitude. They are slaves to appetite, prisoners of distraction, captives of desire. They rise and fall according to moods, impulses, and cravings, believing themselves sovereign while bowing each day to unseen rulers. True freedom does not come from escaping chains placed by others. It comes only from breaking the chains you have placed upon yourself. Consider the man who cannot resist pleasure. He claims liberty because no tyrant forbids him from drinking, indulging, or wasting his days in idleness. Yet every indulgence commands him more surely than any king. He obeys the voice of appetite, rushing wherever it calls. What is this but slavery in disguise? His time is not his own. His body weakens under his so-called freedom. His mind grows dull. The pleasures that promised liberation instead become masters. He is not free, he is shackled. Now look at the man ruled by anger. His enemies have only to provoke him, and he erupts like a fool, destroying himself while they laugh. He believes he is acting in strength, defending his honor, but in truth he is led like an ox by the nose. His opponents do not need chains to control him. His temper is their instrument. He rages when they choose, he lashes out when they wish. Tell me, is this liberty, or is it bondage, dressed in the mask of pride? The Stoics saw what few men dare to admit. Freedom is not granted by laws or nations. Freedom is not given by rulers or revolutions. Freedom is forged within. It is the power to govern your desires instead of obeying them. It is the authority to master your fears rather than be ruled by them. It is the sovereignty to decide your actions with reason, not impulse. A man may live under the harshest ruler and yet remain free if he commands himself. Another may live in a land of liberty yet remain a slave because he cannot control his own appetites. The highest form of conquest is not the subjugation of cities or nations. It is mastery over the self. For once you command yourself, no external force can conquer you. The loss of wealth cannot enslave you, for you have trained yourself to need little. Insults cannot harm you, for you have mastered your pride. Fortune cannot terrify you, for you have disciplined your expectations. The man who has mastered himself cannot be bought, cannot be seduced, cannot be broken. He walks among the crowd untouched, because no invisible chain drags him down. Think of time, the most precious currency in existence. The undisciplined squander it endlessly, drifting from distraction to distraction, surrendering their hours to meaningless pleasures. They believe they are free because no one controls their schedule, yet in truth they are imprisoned by their own lack of will. The man of self-mastery, however, spends his time with precision. He chooses where it goes, and because he chooses, he owns it. His days are not stolen by temptation. His nights are not wasted in regret. This is freedom, not the absence of responsibility, but the possession of control. And consider fear. Fear is the oldest tyrant. Most men bend beneath it, shaping their lives around what terrifies them. Fear of failure, fear of loss, fear of death. These fears dictate their choices, keep them timid, keep them dependent. The man of self-mastery does not beg fear to vanish. Instead, he commands his response to it. He trains his mind to remain steady when danger approaches, to remain clear when others panic. Fear may exist, but it does not rule him. He is free because he decides how to act, while others are dragged like prisoners by terror's hand. Self-mastery is not the denial of freedom, it is the birth of it. It does not remove choice, it makes choice real, for the man enslaved by passion cannot choose. He can only obey. The man ruled by distraction cannot choose. He can only drift. But the man who has trained himself, who has placed his desires in chains, who has disciplined his habits, he is free to decide his course. He acts not because he must, but because he wills it. This is why the ancients described the self-governed man as the only true sovereign. Empires rise and fall, rulers come and go, fortunes appear and vanish, but mastery over the self endures. It is a crown that cannot be taken, a kingdom that cannot be invaded, a freedom that no tyrant can destroy. To rule oneself is to rule the only domain that truly matters. Most men spend their lives as if caught in a storm, tossed from one wave to another, begging the winds to calm, cursing the sea when it grows violent. They believe the world must bend to them, that peace will arrive when chance favors their cause. But here lies the error. The storm cannot be silenced, the sea cannot be tamed. Only the sailor who commands himself survives the tempest. Control over chaos begins not with the world, but within. To govern oneself is the highest conquest, for the man who rules his own nature has already conquered fortune. Look at the common man. His days are ruled by accident. If the morning greets him with comfort, he is pleasant. If insult or misfortune appears, his mood collapses, his purpose dissolves. He reacts, always reacts, never commands. He is a leaf in the wind, a puppet of circumstance, and yet he imagines himself free. Chaos is not his enemy, it is his master. He waits for order to arrive from without, never realizing that order must be forged from within. The Stoics knew this truth well. They did not waste their lives demanding that the world obey them. They understood that fortune is fickle, that chaos is constant, that suffering is inevitable. To place your peace in the hands of fate is to invite ruin. But to place your peace in your own command is to hold power no storm can break. This is strategy, the art of control over chaos. It does not seek to eliminate disorder. It seeks to govern the response to it. Imagine the battlefield. Arrows fall, men scream, dust blinds the air. The undisciplined soldier panics. He looks at the noise, the terror, the blood, and he loses himself. His fear spreads like fire, infecting those around him, shattering the army before the enemy strikes. Yet beside him stands the disciplined commander. His voice remains calm, his eyes remain steady. The chaos around him is not his concern, for he governs the only thing that can be governed, himself. His steadiness brings order to those near him, and where one man commands himself, many find their courage. In this way, mastery of the self becomes mastery of the field. So it is in daily life. Fortune throws insults, disappointments, betrayals, temptations. The undisciplined collapse into anger, despair, indulgence. They drown in the flood, pulled wherever chaos drags them. The man of strategy does not resist the tide with cries. He controls his vessel. He governs his words, his actions, his habits. While others fall into disorder, he imposes order. And because he commands himself, he shapes how chaos unfolds. He is not a victim of chance. He is a strategist of life. Understand this. Chaos will always exist. Fortune is indifferent. Events are uncontrollable. Men are unreliable. To desire a world without chaos is to desire what cannot be. But to build yourself into a fortress against it, that is within your reach. Control begins with the smallest acts. To restrain the tongue when insulted, to choose discipline when tempted, to remain steady when others panic. These are the foundations of strategy. A man who controls himself in small matters will not be shaken in great ones. The power of self-governance spreads beyond the individual. Think of the man who cannot command himself. His household descends into disorder, his companions lose respect, his enemies find easy victories. But the man who rules his own nature becomes an anchor. His presence steadies those around him. His example becomes a standard. His calmness turns chaos into order. Others follow, not because he demands it, but because they crave the stability he embodies. This is why control over oneself becomes control over others, not by force, but by influence. Even in the face of disaster, the strategist of self-mastery does not falter. Wealth may vanish, but he does not collapse into despair. Friends may betray him, but he does not descend into hatred. Fortune may strike him with loss, yet he does not become its servant. He endures, he adapts, he moves with clarity while others drown in confusion. His mind remains his throne, and chaos finds no purchase there. He commands himself, and in doing so, he bends the storm to his advantage. The true conquest is not to silence the chaos of life, but to use it as fuel. Where others panic, the strategist sees opportunity. Where others lose themselves, he sharpens his command. The man who controls himself cannot be undone by the unpredictable, for unpredictability is the very arena where his power shines brightest. He is not surprised by chaos, he is prepared for it, and in that preparation, in that command of self, lies a dominion greater than any empire. You have seen the truth laid bare, Stoicism as the shield, discipline as the sword, self-mastery as the crown, and strategy as the art that binds them together. Men cry for freedom, but only those who command themselves will ever taste it. To live without stoic strength is to be broken by insult. And chance, to live without discipline is to arrive at battle unarmed. To live without mastery is to call slavery freedom. And to live without strategy is to drown in the chaos of life. The choice stands before you. Remain a prisoner of impulse or rise as ruler of yourself. Freedom does not wait. Fortune does not serve it, must be seized, built, and guarded within. Master yourself, and you master all.